How Bobbi Althoff lost her entire career. How Bobbi Althoff lost her entire audience in 1 year.
So it has been quite a long time since we last checked in on Bobbi Althoff. Around a year and a half ago, I actually declared her the biggest industry plant I had ever witnessed hit the podcast scene.
Yo, what has Bobbi Althoff been doing? Hold on. Oh, yeah, she's still doing interviews. Yeah, she's still doing interviews.
Hi guys, welcome to the Really Good Podcast with your host Bobbi Althoff.
Basically, this woman came out of nowhere and had some huge guests like Drake, Mark Cuban, and other celebrities on her show that she dubbed the Really Good Podcast.
So, was y'all watching that shit?
I think my mom named me after a lawyer, which always kind of like rubbed me the wrong way.
Within a week of the Drake interview, Bobbi was being represented by one of the top talent agencies and getting mainstream publicity. For this reason, people began to call her an industry plant because the only content that she had made online before this was essentially a spoof of mommy blogger TikTok content, where she did garner millions of followers, mainly moms all around the country who liked her sarcastic brand of humor.
There is nothing more embarrassing than walking around with one of these. Everyone knows how it got there. They know what you did.
She claims that she parlayed
How'd she go from like mom content to like interviewing Drake and
this
shit?
TikTok
I
career
don't see the correlation.
into another career in podcasting after she offered her followers $300 if they could get a celebrity to come onto her podcast.
It was like a finder's fee, right? You said if you get a celebrity, I will pay you $300.
Yeah.
She says that this offer led to the episode with Funny Marco, which would in turn lead to her being in bed with Drake. You can picture her to be like the slightly more successful Hawk Tuah
That was a
girl
wild ass podcast. Why was she in bed with this nigga, bro?
being in bed with Drake. You can
Bro, that shit don't help Drake case. I'm not gonna lie.
picture her to be like the slightly
A real 69
more
guy.
successful Hawk Tuah girl. To me, their careers actually draw a lot of parallels to each other, but one had to tell the world
I can't fucking stand.
her methods for sucking dudes off before she got thrown into the belly of the industry matrix. You know, they both had that type of lightning in a bottle rise to fame that left onlookers saying, damn, this world is getting really f***ed up. But to be fair to Bobbi, she does seem a lot more intelligent than Hawk Tuah.
Yo, get this shit off my screen, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Rise to fame in such a short period of time, and the fact that most people felt like she was directly biting her entire deadpan comedic style from Funny Marco himself, she started to get a lot of ridicule online. I don't think it helped that she missed her son's birthday party to be there in bed with Drake that day.
You know?
I flew all the way here
You did. I really do appreciate
on my
that.
daughter's first birthday.
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
You missed your daughter's first birthday for
To
this.
be here.
For Drake.
Dark. Regret that you'll never be able to undo.
Yeah.
Horrible parenting.
Something people thought was a joke at first, as it was her brand to be dry and sarcastic, but now it's been revealed that she was being totally serious. The other thing was, when she was doing these interviews, she would constantly be making passes at these men, asking them if they would sleep with her, or if she was their type.
Am I your type?
Mind you, married.
I'd do it.
Thank you.
I do
Would
it.
you date someone that looks like me?
Something that is not only strange to do as an interviewer, but also it got even more wild when people found out that she was still married. Strangely enough, the dude would actually file for divorce.
As most of you have heard, Corey and I have filed for divorce. As sad as I am right now, I am so thankful for the time I got to be his wife. Our girls are so lucky to have him as a father, and I am so lucky to be able to co-parent with such an incredible father in person. While our relationship did not work out as husband and wife, we will always be friends, and I will always love him.
The very same month the Drake podcast came out, which
Damn,
led to
ruined your marriage for
quite a bit
Drake.
of speculation on
Drake?
I'd do it.
One thing I will say is that she was way ahead of her time when it came to the Drake mistreatment, deleting their interview right after it started going viral, and hating at his concert.
Bro, I remember motherfuckers was so mad at this shit, bro. Like,
But after a while, the sarcastic, too cool to care bit really got old, and she even got put in her place by rapper Offset, who let her know that she wasn't all that.
You wanted to be on my podcast.
Why you keep saying that Kevin? That shit, man? I honestly didn't even want to do this shit. I don't fucking do interviews. You heard? You already told me. You looked me up. I'm walking out on bullshit. I'm fucking with you because they're making me.
As a matter of fact, he cooked the hell out of her.
You need a little bit of seasoning. You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken just on the thing. You pull it off, and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man.
You can leave now.
This is my hotel. I paid for this motherfucker. You can leave now.
And then she changed up her whole look, and she went on a show with Keke Palmer, and right there she got accused of being an industry plant right to her face.
I know.
You're not an industry plant, right?
I am, but
you do feel kind of planty. We do have the same manager, so is this?
I know, isn't that crazy?
Feels a bit planty.
This is definitely
you got here.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't know like the definition of an industry plant like that. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. The writer took some musician games public to own talent. Okay, so she basically know motherfuckers and they putting her on type shit.
In 5 minutes, it took me 20 years.
Hey, it has been a minute.
What I think industry plant is, it's like somebody that has been like, that is tied to someone else in the industry and uses those connections.
Oh, she just fucking explained
to
it.
capitalize, and they like have zero talent.
I'm not an anythinger. I don't have any talents.
And then people started to
I don't know, with that industry plant shit, bro, I don't understand. Because I feel like if they had like zero talent, or there wasn't at least some appeal to them, then they wouldn't be as popular as they was. Like, you feel me?
say that she was trying to manufacture moments. She had Ryan Garcia chasing her around the room like they were on the playground.
Bro, you run fast.
He would later tweet out that they had this intimate situation after that was recorded, and she continued with this reputation that she was kind of being bounced around the industry.
You got some close up?
I like to read people's messages, not get room tours.
Let me read your messages.
No. I don't like
I'll
messages.
let you read one message if you let me read one message.
I delete all of my messages. Are you cleaning? I do. You don't? You keep your messages?
I delete my messages?
Yeah, do you keep yours?
People that delete their messages are cheaters. I'm not a liar or a cheater. I hate liars.
And I feel like relevancy-wise, she kind of just came and went, and honestly, Hawk Tua kind of took her spot online. Nowadays, Bobbi's channel and TikTok are mainly inactive, and the last couple of podcasts only garnered a small percentage of what she was averaging only a year ago. And I actually put myself through absolute agony by watching over an hour of Bobbi being interviewed by Forbes and Wired magazine. Bobbi Althoff, the deadpan podcast host America can't get enough of. Wow, a whopping 10K views. America just can't get enough. Obviously, her publicist got her this opportunity, as a lot of celebrities and online talent alike do this type of thing, so they can still try and seem relevant to their sponsors and other people kind of pouring money into their careers. And before we get into all the out-of-touch things she said
that nigga said America can't get enough.
during these interviews, I did want to tell you guys about today's video sponsor.
Oh.
Some of you are has
hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Unlike other look at shit.
Nope,
So I have a
fuck all
special
that.
offer
Fuck all
slash
that.
Jamal Star of the Year.
Shout out to you though, bro.
Equipped with Maury,
Nope, fuck
Bobbi
no.
for the
Alright,
good.
there we go.
Out on Sundays for Dogs today.
Y'all
Now, with
can
these
use this
interviews,
code
I
and shit.
actually did learn a lot about Bobbi for the good and the bad. And after listening to her come up story actually doesn't sound that outrageous to me.
For a few years before, I was on TikTok, just doing brand deals, posting.
But she is honestly just not very likable. Coming up, she claims that she was posting 5 to 10 TikToks per day for years, where she routinely raked in millions of views, followers, and hundreds of thousands of dollars per year.
But my goal for the first year of once I started getting views,
Well,
and
she
getting
been
followers was
grinding.
that every single day I had to have one video that I posted that got 1 million views. So I would keep trying and trying and trying.
Now, using the Wayback Machine, I can see that her numbers do pretty much align with her story, but I do still think that I can see that her numbers do pretty much align with her story, but I do still think that after the Drake podcast, they really tried to make her this big thing, and it just kind of burnt out and then fell flat on its face for the same reason that industry plants in the music sector never stay hot, because the fans they garner are so incredibly generic and fickle that they would just move on to the next trend like nothing. And one thing I did find very interesting in these interviews was the insistence that she has always been driven by wanting to be famous.
I've always wanted to act or have some type of leg in Hollywood, kind of. So I felt, my family always says that if anybody in our family was gonna end up where I ended up, it would be me, because I was the most driven towards that.
And even more by wanting to be rich.
How'd you become an influencer or creator?
Just wanting to make money
She even says that the
Type
only
shit.
reason she did podcasting and TikTok in the first place was because she saw how much money other people made doing it and got motivated.
Mentally.
Nah, I feel like if you really want to do something, you gotta love that shit, bro. Cause like money's not gonna keep you consistent.
Decided that she made like at least
maybe it could. I don't know. Maybe
a
it's just
year
me.
on her podcast alone, and I was like, that's what I need to do next. Like, I need a podcast.
But I feel like if you got a genuine passion for like interviewing motherfuckers, you're gonna do better than somebody who just wants to make money off
For
of it.
someone who loves money so much, she seems incredibly lazy about her job. Multiple times she brags about the fact that she goes into her podcast doing little to zero research on her guest that day.
That's like her whole thing, though, but that's her whole appeal.
Just no research, show up, and ask questions. I was researching how he interviews people, and I was like, oh God, this is a lot of work. Let me just go in there and know nothing.
It's a lot of work.
It's so much work.
And keep in mind, she's doing this in the face of 2 career journalists who do not look very amused.
Is the notebook just for show? Because you kind of have it open
No,
and then you have paper on top of it.
This is just my method.
It's okay.
This is my method. I'm a journalist, so I have my method.
I was making around like 250 to 300 a year.
1,000.
Yeah.
From brand
deals on TikTok.
Wow.
And 250 is great and all, but it's hard to come up with content with just me every day.
$250,000 a year as an annual income is great and all.
Yes.
It is great.
It is
It's
great.
Yeah, she's out here making $300,000 per year. Sound like a minimum wage job at Sonic, which I don't think is a winning strategy for gaining public favor. To me, above all else, it really just seems like there's really no passion in anything Bobbi does. And it's all strictly for the money or the clout, which in some fields can
That's her whole thing, though, bro. That's the only thing. It's like the exception worker. That's like her whole appeal and shit. Like, she's uninterested and shit. That's what makes her. That's what makes people like her. That's her whole personality, her whole whatever gimmick.
definitely work, but not in the entertainment industry.
I hope that I go from D-list to A-list. That's my goal in 10 years.
From D-list to A-list.
Yes.
She still insists over and over, though, that she would be fine going back to a job at Jersey Mike's.
At the end of the day, if I had to go back and work at Jersey Mike's again to support myself, I'll make your sandwich for you.
Yeah, I'm calling absolute bullshit on that, okay? She wasn't even cool with 300,000. And during these interviews, both of the interviewers indirectly question her rise to fame and make allusions to the idea that someone in the background pulls a lot of strings for her.
What do you think is your appeal? Why do you think you became a thing?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Why are you looking at me like that? Well, early on, I was like, is that a joke? Like, what is an industry plant? You guys,
Right.
and I would just play into it because I was like, there's no way people actually think that. But then I realized, like, what people actually
People
think
actually, no, I
which-
did my reading. They actually think
They
that.
really do. And I think that it makes sense. Like, from an outside looking in perspective, I can see why they would think that.
Basically, it seems like nobody's buying her story, and at one point she even cries over the hate that she receives online.
Sometimes it's just constructive criticism. It can be a little mean, but yeah, it doesn't bother me too much.
Other than that, when it comes to
Oh, she
Bobbi,
about to
there were
cry.
these pictures of men carrying her out of the club. Someone put together that she was allegedly dating this NFL player based on one of her posts, and then she got totally embarrassed when this dude did not want to claim her like that, denying the allegations on Twitter after they caught his ass in 4K. I mean, truly, there's nothing much worse than when you think you were in a full-blown relationship with someone, and it turns out they were hiding your ass the whole time or really don't want anything to do with you like that publicly. And so now she's been
I
on
don't even see
TikTok
that.
crying.
Just like hard to imagine finding someone who is truly good for you. It's hard to imagine there's a world where there's like someone who's actually meant for you.
I mean, talk about a turn of events. She was online talking about it's time for her hoe phase.
So what you doing for this?
Hey man, that's what she get. You know what I'm saying? She was acting crazy while she was married. You know what I'm
2
saying?
years. You gonna be a hoe?
I ain't off her bad
To
man.
do a hoe?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe I will.
I don't know. You said you married young and you have your 2 kids already and you're divorced. Isn't that what divorced people do after that?
Just sleep around and have fun.
And now she's recording herself tearing up on camera.
I got lonely. Met a guy
I'm ready for that life.
around Thanksgiving. And I think things moved really fast. I don't know. I thought it was fucking fate. Clearly it wasn't. It was really sweet. It raised the bar for me, which sometimes sucks because then it's like, fuck. I didn't want the bar to be raised at all. Dating is just hard, you guys. Like,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
care.
Let me tell you, we don't care.
I don't know, I always just think it's an interesting case study to see how quickly these individuals fall out of favor with the public. For her and the Hawk Tuah girl, it was like trying to live in a house with no foundation, like that bitch is up on stilts. All it really takes is a little adversity to knock that shit down. And listen guys, I truly think Drake owes this chick a room in his compound. Like if he had not laid up with her in bed and put her on the map, this all likely would have never happened. Maybe Kendrick wouldn't even have dissed his ass. Maybe he was at home on his laptop and this is what sent him over the edge. He knew at this moment that Drake was not like him. In all seriousness though, Bobbi seems alright, but as far as her maintaining a career online, I just don't really see the longevity here, given her motivations are all wrapped up in clout, material possessions, and greed. Not to even mention the fact that it seems like she couldn't really give a damn about her podcast or producing it in a better way. But I want to know what you guys think about this latest Bobbi Althoff update down below. Also want to thank Sundays for Dogs for sponsoring today's video.
Hell no.
Just wanting to make money.
Alright, man. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck to Bobbi Althoff, you feel me?
Wait, like SRT first shot, the last one like a red. Yeah, I told Quinn throwing him, man, just work that Glock, I got your back. Stole a whip, punch and hit the lights, I fought round through my flat. I slide the OG for some runs, I know he mad, can't get it back.